Alright guys, welcome back to Turner Speed Shop. If you're following along with Project Duramax, today we're back at it. We've just recently removed the factory restrictive exhaust system, installed the free-flowing Flow Pro 5-inch exhaust. In order to make that all work, we're going to have to tune the truck. If you haven't seen the other videos of the unboxing, we're using the EFI Live by PPEI. Has 5 different tunes. In order to utilize that, we got to install the DSP 5 switch, which is what we're doing today. So everything comes complete in the kit here with the DSP 5 switch. We got some instructions which are relatively simple and easy. We'll walk through that. Got some loom with the actual wiring and the actual switch itself, as well as the numbers 1 through 5 on the tag there. Got the knob. We actually got a tiny little template in there for drilling the holes. So the perfect mounting location in my truck for the DSP 5 switch is going to be right up top here. It's going to be out of the way, simple enough to reach and get to. Not going to bang it with your knees, legs, bust anything off or anything like that. So in order to mount that, we're going to have to go ahead and pull the fuse cover. We'll get up underneath it here. If I can show it to you or not. We got 2 Phillips screws, 1 on each side, and then right up here under the hood latch, I don't know if I can get it, we've actually got a 10mm bolt hiding up under there. So I'll go ahead and pull this off and we'll go from there. Okay guys, got the panel popped off. We had to just a little press clip, disconnect the trailer brake there, and then once you get that bolt out of there, this just slides back. I think I called it the hood release earlier. It's the park brake release. Be technically savvy. Slides back and all pops out. So we got our hole drilled right where I wanted it. Mounted the DSP 5 switch right on top there. And we got the 2 wires running back through the firewall through an existing grommet. Now we come up into the engine bay. And we're going to pop the wires right out of the whole harness. Clips onto the ECM there. If you can see it very well. Kind of hidden here under the radiator hose. All that, not to be confused with the TCM for the transmission. It's located right below the battery here, and this is the harness we're going to pull off. I'll show you how that comes apart. And then we got our 2 wires that are going to connect into that. Now we can test, make sure our switch is working. Okay guys, what you're looking at, the best I can get the camera in here, is the wiring harness connection to the ECM. It's got basically a ratcheting lock. I've already pulled the bottom one loose to get it out of the way. Just got a bunch of dirt and debris. Once we get it fully released, work at it a little bit here, it pops us right off the ECM. Go ahead and try and work it up top here where we can see it a little bit better and work with it a little more. It's full of dirt and debris, as you can see. Let me grab a little pick or a screwdriver, and we're going to work this cover off. Expose the wires and the connections. Okay, hopefully you guys can see this. I'll really pop the one on the other side. Right in the back side of this. Just reach down there and use a screwdriver, a little pick or whatever. Just a little release, and then that pops a little ratcheting cover right off the top. You get some of that crud right out of there. We'll go ahead and actually put it in the lock position because it'll make it easier to get back on. Fantastic. Now you can see the wires. Of course, it's all full of dirt and debris. So that'll make this project that much more fun. Okay guys, so after dropping you guys with the camera, I'm going to go ahead and take the pick. I'm going to pull this little purple keeper out of the back of the harness. And I've massaged the wires out of the way here the best I can. Blow some of the dirt out of the way so we can get into it here. We're looking for pin 54. We basically counted about 6 in, and we're going to go in here to the 3rd row. Just kind of right behind this purple wire. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. And that's where I'm going to insert my grounding pin. And make sure it's straight, stiff, not bent or broken or anything like that. And we're going to push it in until you hear it sort of clip. Okay, then we'll give it a slight tug just to make sure that it's in. Gotta get anything too aggressive, so make sure it's not falling out and we're seated properly. Okay, then the next one we're looking for pin hole 46. So it's going to be up here. Let's see if we can unbury it. It's going to be in the second row. I believe about 4th in here. Let me go ahead and pause the camera again while I go ahead and massage these wires out of the way and see if we can locate the hole. Okay guys, after some more massaging, I believe I finally got it exposed and I stand corrected. It's going to be the 3rd hole in the second row. Key is to be patient with these wires, to work them gently, get the dirt and crud out of the way, and to just be patient with them to find the hole. Okay, looks like we got the wire inserted. And we'll put the purple keeper back in. And she slid right back in place. Now note, if you're having trouble getting that in, that means your wires are not seated properly. Again, we'll give them a little tug. We'll make sure they're all in place there and then stayed put. I'm going to gently massage all these wires kind of back where they were. And I cut a factory zip tie right around the base here, so I'll go ahead and replace that. Get everything in place as best we can so we can get the cap back on here. We're going to be as gentle as possible, check both sides, make sure we're not getting any wires or anything pinched in here before we cinch it down. There she goes, clicks into place on both sides. Get the ratchet open. Now we're good to connect it back into the ECM, and our DSP5 switch should be good to go. Get this hooked back up and then we will check. Okay, and then just like that, she locks in place. If you guys can even see this or not, I don't know if I have the camera angled right. It's kind of a dark little hole to try and get down in there too. Okay, once they're both firmly seated and locked in place, we should be good to go. We'll go back in, like I said, we'll check the switch, and then we can reinstall the dash. Put everything all back together. Okay guys, so this is going to be really hard to see in the video, but the directions tell us if we go ahead and stick our key in, turn the ignition all the way to on, and on the back side of the DSP switch, there's a tiny little button. If you hit that button and one of those little LEDs lights up, most likely everything's connected correctly. If one of those little LED lights doesn't light up at all when you hit that button, you probably need to recheck your connections, make sure they're clean, make sure everything's seated properly. We got briefly a little red orange LED coming on, so we should be good. So we'll go ahead and put the dash back together, and then we should be good to go ahead and tune the ECM. Putting her back together should be relatively easy and straightforward. Pretty much the exact opposite of disassembly here. Plug our hood release back in. Oops. plug in the little harness for the trailer brakes. Make sure it's all connected, and then got these little clips and whatnot. We'll make sure everything's lined up. Pop them all back in. Put our fuse panel cover back on the side here. Okay, now that we got everything clipped all into place, DSP switch is mounted up here nice and clean like. Super happy with that hidden little spot. Then we'll go ahead and we'll reinstall our 2 Phillips screws and our 10mm bolt up under there, and then we're completed and good to go. Next video will be using the EFI Live by PPEI to tune this truck. Stay tuned, guys.